YouTube didn't go live.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah,
turn YouTube on since the YouTube didn't start. It's supposed to start at the same time. I don't know why it stopped doing that. All right, well, anyways, for YouTube side of things, welcome to the BearThoughts podcast. We do this every Friday at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. Thank you for joining us today. This is by Seth, the Corvo Ninja. For those who are on the Twitch side of things, you heard everything already, but go ahead and show it one more time. Show the little logo. I thought you're going to put on the back of your vest or your jacket.
I got a friend. I got a friend at work that does embroidery, and she is putting the Balm Garden logo from Final Fantasy VIII on the back of my black vest. This is a sample that she did, and I want you to know this thing is so nice.
It's stitchery work, right?
Yeah, this is all thread, all stitched, and I'm gonna put this because she let me keep the sample.
Yeah,
it will be getting put up back there at some point because I think it is awesome as shit, and I can't wait to get the vest back now.
Does she have like one of those machines that does that, or did she do by hand?
Said.
No, she has one machine.
Botrix has correctly joined the channel.
She's trained herself over the years for calibrating it and setting everything up and how it needs to run, kind of like we did with printing, you know.
Yes. But it's like the 3D printing world of threads.
Yeah, and dude, I don't know if I told you one time before, my aunt used to do this as a side business, right?
Yeah.
And I will tell you that I helped her do that many summers, many times. And this is some of the cleanest work I've ever seen.
Yeah, she got that messy.
Yeah, that was her messy. That was her messy.
All right. Those who not know, we are doing D&D. We're going back to the campaign later tonight, so be ready for that. If you're interested in watching more of our D&D streams, I know I haven't been posting what I have on mine, but if you want to see what we've been doing this past 2 weeks, go to Corvo's channel. You'll be able to see the off-spin games we've been playing, learning new things and new programming to see what could future things be like. Last week, we tried a program that allowed you to, in a 3D space, put down 3D models of areas and 3D models of characters, and the abilities are coming along. The characters and models of certain races are going to come along. Certain models have been painted yet. It's a learning progress. They just released this thing this past, I want to say, December of last year. So it's still in works, but it's looking great. We had a lot of fun playing that last week. That was a lot of laughters. But this week we're going to be getting back into the regular campaign, so I hope you're going to be there for join us then. I hope I see you then. If anybody's noticing a new quality, I'll tell you right now, Corvo, we changed the providers again, internet providers. And you can tell me whether or not I'm crazy or not. But no contract, so you know there is no. I have to stick with anybody, right? And so was Spectrum, no contract, which I thought was good. But a certain company came to me. It's like, hey. We're doing lifetime guaranteed price. All you gotta do is pay a extra $10 from the standard price as of right now, and you're locked in it for life. 1 gigabyte, and there's no more cable going through their line. It's just pure internet. 1 gigabyte and 50 megabytes of is it up? I think it's up.
It's a gig down and 50 up.
50 up. Well, my last one was a gig down and 35 up.
Okay, so I will tell you this because I've already seen this today. I didn't get a chance to tell you. You do freeze every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay. Freezing.
So yeah, okay. Your camera freezes a little bit and or it'll break up a little bit and then it catches back up. It's not doing it right now. And it's very sporadic. Now, that may be
me clicking on other programs or other things.
It could be working itself out. I don't know.
I'll keep track of it.
The thing I would say is just keep an eye on your speed test. Make sure that you're continuously getting what they say they're offering you. At least for a couple of weeks. And if somebody reports to you when you're streaming or something that you did what I just described,
Yeah.
I would speed test it real quick, because chances are either it was the bandwidth being pushed to you, which is your download upload speeds, or something in your hardware is not playing nice with their network, which is also a possibility because it's a different provider, right?
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on it, because I was going to tell you anyway that I seen it. I just hadn't had a chance to tell you.
Yeah.
But if they're locking you in for life, that's great on that price. But then my question would be, make sure later, if you ever decide to upgrade or whatever, that they give you a new contract locking you in for that price.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is a lot of companies will bring you in, lock you in for life on what you're getting right now, right?
Yeah.
Later you decide, hey, a gig down and 50 up's not enough. I need to go a gig both ways, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, upgrade me to that, and they're like, oh, we can do that, but there's no lifetime guarantee on price on that.
Yeah, that
And
would
that's
be
how they
really. Yeah.
So make sure you're mindful of that, okay?
Yeah. And I told him though, like, if fiber ever comes to my neighborhood, I'm gonna be a ghost real quick. I told him straight out, I'm gonna leave y'all real quick too, because if fiber ever comes here, I'm getting fiber. There's nothing gonna stop me. I'm getting fiber.
I can get fiber now, but I'd have to change my company.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ready to change my company yet.
Yeah, they've been good to you, so
they've been kind of good to me. But I do have a company that will offer fiber to the house. They can do a gig up and down, 2 gigs up and down, up to 5 gigs up and down. Here's the problem though. There's not hardly any consumer grade hardware
that
out
needs
there
that
for those speeds.
Yeah.
So
if
I went, it would be a 1-in-1 now, because your boy is your boy. All my infrastructure's already ready for 1 gig up and down.
Yeah.
So they would literally just have to bring me a modem and we're good.
Yeah.
But but truthfully, I mean, you've seen over the years, it's not very often that I've had actual internet issues. And usually when I do, it's like 30-minute turnaround and it's fixed. So I haven't had the want and desire enough yet to flip that switch. Now, that doesn't mean that if I go through 6 months of hell for some reason, that I won't swap. I'll do it in a heartbeat.
I haven't. The only thing I haven't tried, because before in the past, companies said that this modem wouldn't work with them. You know this thing. You seen it before.
Yeah.
$400 modem that when I bought it. This thing's been a trooper, but this is 4 years ago. They got me a brand new Arsis modem and router. I never heard of Arsis. ARRIS. Never heard of it before. But he said, like, for our area with the infrastructure in Decatur, I'm okay with saying that. That's all I'm willing to say. It's running just fine. Like, it runs way better. But like, I want to use this one, but at the same time, I'm letting to see how this runs, because if this gets destroyed, this won't. If lightning ever happens and that gets fried, it's free.
Right.
So,
and that's smart. So I got a question.
All right.
Do we want to talk about my topic that we didn't get to last week?
Yes, the haunted one. Yeah, I have one and only one, but problem is it wasn't my
experience,
my encounter and my experience, but it was a part of my family. So that's why I'm only able to have it. So the question was, and be sure to leave down in the comments down below if anybody wants to join in here, if you want to give your tell, was,
have you ever had a ghostly experience in your life?
Yeah.
That's what the question was.
So I'll start with mine, because I'm sure yours is a lot more interesting. And of course, like I said, I didn't have the experience. Now, my mom, she's the one that had the experience. And I remember what house it was too. It was literally a house that just across the street was a huge church. Huge church. One of the biggest churches in town, like right in the middle of town too. And I still remember the layout too, man. I can vividly remember this place, because I was babysitting in this house at one time too. And then Vinci got in the house. Okay. My mom, she said in that house, when she was laying in bed, she could see into the hallway from her bedroom. Door was open. And she said she saw this more than once. She saw a little baby girl walk past her bedroom one time, then walked past it another time. And she's always thought, because she didn't know if she ever had a miscarriage, was that possibly her child that may have died during that possible miscarriage? And that was, it was following her in her own house. And she swore by it. It would walk right by her bedroom, like every once in a while at night.
Right. And those experiences or reports, or for the people that don't believe anything to do with it, you can call it a story. Those are actually not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of ladies over the years that's had misfortunes when it comes to childbirthing, like you described, saying they experience something similar. Okay. Yeah. So can I quantify as someone sitting here that really happens? No, I can't. I can, in a few minutes, I'll share a couple of my stories with you, because I'm going to tell y'all a little bit of a funny side of the Corvo that you guys haven't been exposed to yet. But I will tell you that I fervently
believe.
Let me see how to say it. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I won't say that I have what you call unshakably, deniably a feeling that all exists, right?
But I
also, right, but I also wouldn't say that I'm not capable.
Oh, I got another one for my wife, but I'll tell about that later.
Okay. I growing up where I grew up, you've driven through down here.
Yeah.
You've seen, growing up where I grew up, there's a shitload of stories and tales about stuff like that around here, okay? Me, I was always one of those children that was all about let me investigate it. I want to see it. I think it's a cool idea. I was a #1 fan of Ghost Hunters, okay? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, my wife loves those shows.
I was all about that. So when I was younger, I would say a couple of years after my father passed away, I really took a big interest in it.
Okay.
Not like when some people say a big interest, like I started reading about it. I didn't just start reading about it. Hell, I started collecting all these stories and tales and started going to these damn places.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see. Okay. So we had, and this story is probably told in 100 little towns across the entire country. But we had a story, this is one of the ones I'm going to share with you, that out in the backwoods, and you've seen we got plenty of backwoods down here.
Yeah.
There was an older cemetery, and at that cemetery there was also what they call the prayer shack. And what that prayer shack was for is that would be where, back in older times, once a month, the local priest would go to that prayer shack that overlooked that cemetery. He would put his Bible up on the podium, and he would recite some prayer.
Yeah.
What that was supposed to do was help passed away souls or whatever stay peaceful, still feel love, and still feel okay. So the story goes that when all that stopped, they got restless.
Mm-hmm.
Spirits got restless out there. And if you drove out there you could go to the prayer shack and the Bible would be there and it would be open. And if you closed it and walked out of the prayer shack, it would open itself back up.
Okay.
And then when you tried to leave, your vehicle was shut off.
Okay.
And you would have to push it past a certain point on the dirt road before you would be able to start it again. So I tell you this story because this is one of the few stories that I'd ever put a whole lot of credence in, even when I was heavy into this stuff, okay?
Okay.
And at this time, I had just gotten, I was 16, I had just gotten my little Ford Probe GL.
Okay.
And I had a cousin, she was younger than me, who had a boyfriend who was being a bit of a prick.
Okay.
So I decided one night, let's have a little fun and we'll spook him, because this is one of the few ones that I didn't believe. There was others that I believed, but this one I didn't. So I talk him into jumping in the car with me one night and we ride out there. We get out there, absolutely no problem. Okay?
Mhm.
We go to the prayer shack. There lays the Bible like it's supposed to be, just like everybody says. So I have him shut the book. I'm watching him shut the book.
Yeah.
And then we step outside. And without missing a beat, the fucking book opened back up. You heard it open.
Look. Yeah, like papers. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I turned around and I looked, because there's not a door on the shack. I looked through the doorway at the podium and can see that this book that I just watched this boy close is now open again. So, needless to say, I got a little bit edgy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm still not fully committed to this story yet, but I'm starting to get a little edgy because shit's happening like they say it is, right? Like they say it is. So, I'll tell him, let's go. And my plan had been to shut the car off myself.
Yeah.
While we're riding, to spook him a little bit. Play a few little pranks, because he's been a little bit of a butt to my cousin. Well, I didn't get a chance to play my prank. Because, oh no, we started driving. I had the radio on. And then the radio went off, and then the car went off.
Okay. So did you have to push?
Yes. We got out, and we pushed past because the cemetery was surrounded by old wrought iron, handcrafted fence that wasn't but about 3 to 4 feet tall. Wasn't keeping nothing out, but it was more decoration, right? It went around the entire cemetery. Well, the car shut off about halfway down that line to our right out the window.
Yeah.
So we get out and we push the car past the end of the cemetery. And for shits and giggles, I decide, let's see how much truth there is to this story. I'll hop in and hit the key and the car cranks up and the radio cuts back on.
Okay.
So I haul ass because at this point I am no longer edgy. I'm fucking spooked because everything that everybody has told me has now happened. Now I know my own vehicle.
Yeah.
My car has never shut off on its own. The radio has never died on its own without the car dying. The radio died first while the car was still running, and then the car died. So I crank up, I haul ass. Needless to say, my goal was met because he was scared shitless. But I also left having a much more healthy respect for that story than I had when I got out there.
Yeah, a lot more credence to it.
You guys, I get it. Yes, if you leave a book open for a very long period of time and it has a leather spine and you close it, because the leather's shrinking over time, it can force it to open right back up. I get that. I do understand the science behind it, okay? But I can tell you I owned that car for around 8 to 9 years, and in the entire time I own that car, that is the only time that car ever shut off on its own, or the radio ever shut off on its own. Ever.
Like, okay, see, my brain would try to go toward a more rational thinking of why that could happen, and I can't rationally think of anything that could circumvent electricity inside of a vehicle when it's mostly driven by gas, and how it would just be able to stop power from turning on from that point into another point.
And here's the other odd thing. I don't know about you, but you've been in a vehicle before that cut off on you, right?
Yeah.
Usually everything cuts off at once. Your radio doesn't cut off before your car because it's tied to the same electrical system.
Yeah.
But my radio literally cut off while I was still driving, and then the car cut off.
I wonder if
there
there's
is no scenario that
somewhere.
I have found. There's no scenario that I've found, and this is from someone that used to be an electrician, that also used to do 12-volt wiring and such for vehicles. I could never find an explanation for it, and it never ever happened again.
Yeah.
Ever. Matter of fact, that was the same vehicle that Stealthy was in with my mother when they had an accident one time, and this car crunk up after the accident with the passenger side door in the passenger seat, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And drove to the hospital and didn't miss a lick. So
it was a trooper.
My point being is I had a healthier respect for what I had been told when I left there than when I was heading out there. And to give a little more information, when I say I was heavily into this, guys, I went to the point where I was buying and or borrowing cameras to go to places that were reportedly haunted around me that I could get to, and I would spend the night with a friend if they would go with me, if not by myself, in these locations.
Yeah.
Trying to find out if this was real or if it's not or whatever. Now, the next story I'm going to tell you, you can believe me or not, but I'm going to tell you, you can look in my eyes. I firmly believe this fucking place was haunted.
Uh-huh.
The things that I experienced in this location, whether you believe me or not, I know what I experienced scared the shit out of your boy.
See, like, okay, so like, problem is, like, you can talk about that story in a second. The problem is with like nowadays with all the cameras, like back in the, I would say back in the 90s, anytime there was any spiritual event that were occurring that was caught on camera, the gradiency of the camera and the quality of the camera was so piss poor that you couldn't barely make out, the difference between a person or a shadow. And nowadays, people have the better cameras, but the problem is like, oh, CGI. Special effects.
Which is why I'm telling you, you can believe what you want to believe. But I was there. I experienced what I experienced, and it scared the shit out of me. And I know you've been around me enough, and you've talked to me enough to know that I don't scare very fucking easily.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the irony of this is this actually took place in a house that was reportedly haunted that was only 3 blocks away from my own.
Oh, that's fun.
So, one night, me and a friend decided that we would walk up to this place and we would stay there because over the years we had seen people move in and move out, move in and move out. And I mean, when I say move in and move out, I'm not talking about like, we're going to move in for a few months. I don't really like this place. We're going to move out. No, what I mean is they would move in and 2 days later be leaving. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this shit happened on the regular. So during one of those periods of times when nobody was inhabiting it, and it had actually finally been declared to be torn down by the city, I decided I better go now before it's gone.
Yeah.
So a little brief description. This place was completely empty of furniture. There was no furniture in it.
Okay.
There were still toilets in the bathroom and tubs in the bathrooms, but there was no plumbing hooked up to them. So, like, if I looked through the toilet, I could see the fucking ground.
Yo. Okay. Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
So people lived
So
in
there's
there,
nothing
though?
connected. No, this is after the city decided to demolish it. They had already had some plumbers come in and disconnect the
All
city,
lines?
all the lines and stuff from the city going to it. They just have not officially had someone come in and tear the house down.
Okay.
So, to give you an idea of this house's layout, think of an old country house,
All right.
relatively wide and long, single story. It was up on brick pillars. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could see under the house.
Yeah.
Because it was
On
off the
stilts.
ground. And when you walked into the house, there was a single double-person hallway, meaning two people could walk down this hallway side by side. They went right down the middle of this fucking house from the front to the back.
Okay. So
Okay.
almost like a shotgun house.
So when you walk in to the left, you had what I call a sitting room, and to the right would have been the living room.
Okay.
If you continue down the hall, the next room on your left was like where you keep your where your washing machine, your dryer, your laundry area.
Okay.
And on your right was the bathroom.
All right.
Past that, you had 4 more doors. Bedroom,
Bedrooms. Yeah.
okay? And then at the very, very back, stretching all the way across, was the kitchen. And the back door, obviously.
Yeah.
This place was built back before they had gas heat. So it had 2 fireplaces, one on each side. One in the living room on that side of the house, one back down towards the back end of the house in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So we walked in, and we walked down, and we did our little walk through the house, you know, just to make sure that we were genuinely by ourselves. Because, you know, kids are kids, and if you tell your friends, they might want to pull a prank on you, right?
Yeah.
But there was nobody there, just the 2 of us. So we decided that we would set up. You remember those old cassette tape recorders that had the little micro cassettes?
Yeah.
I
Alone.
had 2 of them.
Okay.
So I took one and set it down there to record out of the kitchen area, and I sat one up in the sitting room.
Yeah.
So we walked around for a few hours, you know, just in and out of rooms, talking, trying to see if we could provoke anything to happen. Nothing happened. Okay. So we decided, hey, we need to take a nap. Somebody needs to take a nap. So we'd rotate. I'd sleep 30 minutes. He'd sleep 30 minutes. I'd sleep 30 minutes. He'd sleep 30 minutes. Well, on one of those rotations, he wakes me up in a panic. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Because, you know, you get woke up startled, you're like, what's going on? He's like, dude, I know you're going to think I'm crazy as hell. You're probably not going to believe me. You can go check for yourself, but I swear to God, I just heard that fucking toilet that has no water and no pipes flush.
Okay.
I'm like, huh?
Waterless flushing toilet.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I told you, don't be bringing none of that wacky shit up in here. I'm trying to do some legit. He's like, no, dude, I'm telling you, I ain't smoked nothing. I ain't ate nothing. I'm telling you what I heard. I thought he was full of shit. I thought he was full of shit. So I walk over there and I look. Toilet looks just like it did when I laid down to take my nap, you know? It was dry as a fucking bone. No pipes hooked up to it. Well, then I said, dude, you gotta do better than that if you're gonna try to spook me. Come the fuck home. Quit fucking around. So I go to walk out of this bathroom and I make 3 steps and guess what I hear?
Flushing?
The fucking toilet flush. So I turn the fuck back around and look at the toilet from where I'm at through the doorway, and I'm like, huh. He goes, I told you, see, I fucking told you that shit flushed. I'm trying to tell you, this fucking place is haunted. I said, one toilet flushing don't make a haunted house. Because I always tried to approach it as a skeptic person.
Yeah.
You know? Because if I approach it that way and then something actually happens, then I can't deny it.
Yeah, it's kind of like with scientists. A lot of scientists they do believe in Christianity. They do believe in the whole Bible story, but they're still like in that skeptical mind of some scientific things of our world, but they still like they're almost like trying to deny the fact of like of those of Jesus and of the Noah's Ark.
Right.
You gotta have that mindset, because you gotta have and place the foundation to be able to prove or disapprove.
If you go into it believing that something is there immediately,
your
then
mind would
of course you're gonna find proof of something being there, because you're gonna fill it in. Okay, so I looked at him and said, one toilet flushing doesn't make this place haunted. For all the fuck we know, that could have been Billy Bob next door flushing his fucking toilet, and his window was open. You know, I'm just trying to think of shit. You know.
Yeah.
So one of the reports about this place was that the fireplace in the kitchen would light itself without any wood in it.
That'd be cool.
And then in the middle of the hallway, a bolt of fucking fire would come down that bitch. Straight down it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I believe I might see a ghost, but I never thought I'm going to see no fucking ball of fire come flying down the hallway. I was wrong.
Okay.
Okay. And if I still had the jacket, I'd show it to you, but I don't own it anymore.
So but the fire hit you?
Oh, it hit my jacket.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd like to anybody sit in the middle of the hallway and wait for it, but that can answer my question.
Well, that's not how that shit went down. Believe me, I wouldn't have stood there and been like, lob me one. No, bitch, that's not how that went.
Okay.
So toilet flushes, and I'm standing there talking to him in the hallway, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a little flicker like orange light, kind of like, you know, you've seen a fireplace throw off light in a kind of dark room. It kind of orange light, you know.
Flicker.
I see it, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, I know goddamn well that. I looked at him, I said, you light a motherfucking fire? It's like, dude, seriously? You know, he's like, dude, I didn't light no fucking fire. I'm like, I swear to God, if I go down here and I find wood in this fucking fireplace and you done lit a fire, I'm going to beat your ass right here in this haunted house. And he's like, dude, I did not do this shit. So I start walking down there because I'm going to look, fucking toilet flushes again. So now I'm stopped. I'm in between flickering firelight in the kitchen and the fucking toilet flushing up there. I'm like trying to think to myself, which way do I go? Because if this shit is legitimately happening, I want to go to the place that's most likely, you know, that I could see something without harm to myself, right?
Yeah.
So I turn the fuck around. I start walking back towards the bathroom, and I hear my friend go, "What the fuck?" Right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I feel something very warm on my back.
Uh-huh.
And when I pull my jacket off, this motherfucker has flames on it. Do you understand? I had to throw it on the ground and stomp it. I stomped on this bitch to put it out.
Okay.
So I asked him, I was like, what the fuck was that? He's like, dude, you know that story we was told about the damn fireball? He's like, I watched that bitch come around the corner, hit this hallway, and come straight down that bitch and hit you. Well, I'm still a teenager at this point, so now my whole facade of this shit ain't happening, you gotta prove it to me, that shit has fell away because I literally am looking at my smoldering fucking jacket. I am now scared. I am no longer, you know, this shit ain't happening. I'm more in the line of this shit is happening. How the fuck do I get out of here?
Okay, so my brain is, how long was it from the moment you were at the toilet with your cousin and you walking toward the kitchen how long did it take between there to the kitchen that you turned around and started walking back toward him again?
It wasn't but a few seconds. I mean, it's about like, think about if you were to get up and walk to your back door, to that door behind you.
Uh-huh.
And imagine you're talking to me as you're doing it, like you've done sometimes. About the time I got to that door is when that toilet flushed. So I turned right the fuck around and started walking back. And it wasn't but 2-3 steps on the way back that I felt warmth on my back.
Okay, so only thing I could possibly speculate here. So somebody could probably be like, this is what they're going to be thinking about if you're a naysayer, right?
Right.
If your cousin was fucking with you, right? Let's say he was completely messing with you. And he had a recording of a flushing toilet on him. You didn't know about it in his pocket somewhere. Let's just say this is a possibility. Okay. Right?
And I'm fine with that.
And then when you walked away, he took a lighter to your jacket, knowing that you would walk away. By the time it happened, instead of actually growing on you, he would draw attention to it as you turned around and then notice that your jacket was on fire. That's the only way I can be skeptical of the entire thing. If he was just like,
and you know
perfect timing.
You know what? I went to that same place afterwards, after we got the fuck out, because I'm going to tell you, I didn't stay there much longer to fucking find out. Okay?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, I asked him, I was like, dude, were you fucking with me? I'm like, be honest. Like, if you're fucking with me, I will give you this. You are like the king of fucking practical jokes right now.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty fucking good, you know?
Yeah.
Here's the problem with him doing that. One, he's not the kind of person that would go far enough with a joke that could possibly harm me. And lighting my jacket on fire could have hurt me.
Yeah, he doesn't have that sense of humor.
He doesn't. He's not that. He's funny, but not to that degree. You know, like he's not the kind of guy that he'll sit there and joke with you like I joke with you, but he's not gonna like smear some gelatin on your fucking face and light you on fire. It's not. He's not that point. Mm-hmm. So, and then with the recording, I mean, yeah, he could have had a recording of a toilet flushing, but answer me this. The toilet flush at sporadic times during the night.
Yeah.
One of those times happened while I was asleep. The other 2 times while I was awake. He was standing next to me both times, and would have had to trigger it, you know, remotely to go off without me seeing him do it for that to happen. And I can tell you, he is a animated talker.
Yeah.
So when he's talking to me, his hands are moving.
Yeah.
I see his hands when the toilet flushes.
Yeah. See, the only thing I would be thinking is like whether or not it was like, cause, you know, your memory could be a little faded at this point. But you would know the direction of the audio. Like if it was coming from his body, you would know like, hey, it's coming from your direction, not the toilet's direction, which is the entire different direction entirely. So that'd be like,
and I'm telling you, that audio come from that bathroom. It came out of that bathroom.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to throw out there like what people would say.
The first time it happened, I was more towards the front of the house as I was leaving the bathroom, and I was calling this shit.
Yeah.
And I heard it from there, and it was still coming from there. And then the second time, I was on the other side of that door heading to the back of the house, and it still came from there. That only happens if it was actually coming from that bathroom.
See, okay, so now my question would turn out to be, what did the audio tracks pick up by in all this? We could talk about when you went back, but like, what did your 2 audio tracks, kitchen and dining room?
They both heard the toilet flush.
Okay. What about fire flickering or fire like a, you know what I'm saying, like a quick combustion of fire?
The one that was this is the interesting one. The one that was in the kitchen. Remember, I specifically said I put one in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And that's the fireplace that was reported to light itself and the fireball to come from.
Yeah.
When I went back through the recording, I shit you not, I could hear, you know what wood sounds like when it's crackling?
Yeah, pop, 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 pop,
I
pop.
heard it. I heard that shit
Crackling.
on the audio.
Okay. Did you try to do like a seance and try to get any like vocals?
No, hell no. I didn't stay around after my fucking jacket caught on fire. Fuck that shit. It's time to go, motherfucker. That's physical contact and not the kind I like.
Okay, so
I like it hot, but not like that.
okay,
You
so
know?
after that contact, you said you went back there again, and you
I
had a
did.
second.
I went back the following day, during the day.
Okay.
And went straight to that fireplace.
Yeah.
Because my thought process was, if there was actually a fire lit in that fireplace and it wasn't some kind of ghostly fire, I should find some kind of soot, ash, coals, something, right?
Warmth. You should find warmth.
Right.
Even if it's like with
that fucking fireplace was just like it hadn't been lit in the past 20-something years. Just like when we walked in there.
Not even partial residual heat at all.
No. There was no heat. There was no soot, no ash. Matter of fact, I opened the soot trap to see if maybe somebody had tried to clean it up, sweep it in there.
Yeah.
When they disconnected the shit under the house, guess what else they took off? The fucking soot box. I could see green grass. So nothing had been swept down there. So I was like,
Okay.
what the fuck?
So the only thing he had was the jacket. I don't know why. Okay, my question is honestly with you is like, why would you throw away something that was like, even if like set on fire?
I didn't throw
honestly,
it away.
What happened to it?
I didn't throw it away. I grabbed it. I took it with me. If you were down here, you could ask my mom about it because I kept it for probably 14 or 15 years. I even showed it to Stealthy at one point when we first got together. It got lost in the move between moving from where we were when we first got together, to moving here. It got lost in transit. But I had that jacket for years, and I will tell you, the jacket was a leather jacket, and it was back when they were doing that, where they would color the leather, like bright greens and reds and stuff. The back of the jacket was a brighter green, and it had that soft, what kind of leather is it that's real soft when you touch it? It's not smooth, it's soft. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like it has a little bit of hairs on it, little tiny fiber hairs.
Yeah. So the back of the jacket was that leather, but it had been dyed green.
Okay.
The sleeves were that leather, but were brown. And the front right here, because it was made kind of like a Letterman jacket, the front panels were also leather, but they were a dark blue.
Okay. And you just that's just vivid memory for you. Okay, so and I guess the back of it, the green got burnt up, but it's leather. It's pretty hard to burn leather. Like that is not a
right. So it didn't burn the. That's why it didn't like instantly burn me, because it had to burn the leather first. And it didn't burn all of the green. Like I said, I wish I still had it. I'd show it to you. But right between my shoulder blades, a little bit down in the center of my shoulder blades, a spot about 8 to 9 inches around, you can see where it burned out. And there was frayed, burnt edges where after I finally stomped on it enough that it went out, right?
Yeah. Because I'm thinking like, ghost fire, if there's no heat from a fire pit, there's no heat from that, there should be no heat from ghost fire. It's just a visual representation of fire. But if the fire actually made a hole and burned, well, that's no longer just a representation of fire.
Right. So that was, again, that's why it spooked. Because everything that I knew up until that point said that something of a ghostly nature like that couldn't actually harm you, right? Couldn't actually touch you. But I felt the fucking heat on that shit. Okay? I stomped on the jacket while it was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So then my mind now goes from this is a I could probably be scared but be okay to I'm scared and whatever
out.
did that can actually touch me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay, so as you well know, I never very much talk about it on stream or podcast. Religion does play a part in my life, though I do not, I do not outwardly speculate it here because I'm not a pastor or anything like that. Do you think ghosts and or demons could interact with each other to the point where they can be almost one and the same?
I don't know if they could be one and the same, but I do know, and again, we're not a religious podcast, but since we're on the subject, I'll give you some information. I was a deacon at my church at the age of 17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, youngest deacon ever in my church. Something that I learned, or something that was imparted to me from some of the older people that I didn't know at the time, is that it is commonly held that where suspected spiritual activity is also where demonic activity is drawn.
Yeah.
So, while, yes, the toilet flushing could have been a ghost, that fire might not have been a ghost.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So, that was when I realized that I hadn't accounted for all of the variables. I hadn't thought about, I was there looking for a ghost. I had not thought about what if something else was there,
Yeah.
Because
just put it in just a quick perspective. If you were a human trapped in spirit form on Earth forevermore, to be in your grief and be in your sorrow, never to be able to let go of it, I consider that somewhat of a form of hell. Right?
Agreed.
So like my brain is going, if one's there and I'm living in a spiritual hell, I'm thinking the other one's gonna be there too, making sure I'm having all the troubles in my world and
all the fun, right? Having all the fun. Take it, baby. Yeah. And I agree with you. So since then, what few times I have still indulged in the activity of is there really ghost?
Yeah.
I have taken a more semi-ghost hunter standpoint on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have better cameras now that can see in the dark.
Yep.
And I will set that stuff up. I will set a recorder up. I will talk, whatever. But I do know that something that I realized, and this was, I thought about this as a reflective thing. This come to me afterward.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So when the toilet flushed, I was a little spooked, but I wasn't scared. I didn't have like any kind of like goose pimples or any of that, right? I was just a little spooked. But thinking back on it now, I do remember that when it flushed the second time and I turned and started walking back down the hall, I suddenly felt, like physically felt uneasy.
Yeah, discomfort.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Discomfort. And there's been many other places that I've went to that I would say that I believe has activity, but I never felt that there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been a belief of mine, and I've always held to this, that if I'm ever doing something like that and I feel that feeling again, that's it. It's fucking time to go.
Yeah.
Because to me, that signifies I'm dealing with something other than what I want to deal with. Based on my own personal experiences, and I get the fuck out.
Yeah. All right. So these are also experiences from my wife. She actually believes in the paranormal. Sorry. So back in Birmingham, we lived in an apartment. Now this apartment was recently renovated. So meaning the layout was the same, but like it did a lot of stuff to make it nicer, make it more modern, whatever. And in our bedroom, we had a walk-in closet, right? But that walk-in closet could also go straight to our bathroom. It was the weirdest layout I've ever seen in my life. had one door you can go down the hallway, go to the bathroom. One door you go from the bathroom into the walk-in closet into my bedroom. My wife swears up and down that she one day woke up middle of the night, went into the walk-in closet, and there stood a very tall, lanky, dark man just standing there, looking at her. And she immediately closed the door and went the other way. And she told me about it the next day. And she didn't think there was much of it until a day or so later. One of the cabinets in the kitchen opened up just randomly. Which you're thinking, okay, when maybe like the latch got loose, whatever. But then it slammed closed.
Yep.
And then it's like, honey, I think we have a friend here. And my wife's always told me, if you know if there is a spiritual presence in around you, do not call out to them. Do not call out to the thing you saw or make contact. Because then when you make contact, they will make contact back. So we didn't say anything ever much about it. A couple years back, when me and you were knowing each other, apartment A, we had the same exact experience with the cabinets. One opened up. Again, I wasn't there, right? Perfect timing. I'm never there. And it slammed itself. I'm like, this is a different apartment. Did it follow us? We didn't make contact with the guy. We didn't say anything to him. But then my actually, did I have one? I told my wife one time I saw a cat run through her house. And I thought it was Lala. You know Lala.
Yeah.
All white. I thought it was Lala. I still think the same thing as Lala. But I told my wife, I thought I saw Lala run by me just now. But no, Lala's nowhere near me right now. She's not where I saw the cat run to. So I'm like, it could have been Lala. She was a white cat. It just ran by. But Lala's not in here. She's like in the bedroom or in the office somewhere. I don't know where she is. And my like, guess you saw one too. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I'm not skeptical about it, but I'm also not like all for it. Like I just saw a cat run by.
Right.
That was just like a quarter of my eye. I
Right.
saw a white blur of a cat. Just whoop. I'm like, Lala? I go look where I saw it run to. I'm like, I don't know. So that was like, if you call that a spiritual thing, I saw animals, but I still don't know if it was that kind of animal. So like, that's as far as my spookiness goes. But I never really call out to the animals or the creatures because I know you're not supposed to do that. But people do it all the time on television. So it's like, are you there?
Well, I mean, I think that's largely dependent upon if that other presence is there too. You know what I mean?
No one wants to call out to Damon and see what happens to you.
We did have another question, but we're getting kind of long now, so we can save it for next time. But that'll be an interesting question because I'm curious of what a lot of people will say.
I hope people say something. Leave y'all down there below. We might do another one of these episodes if y'all are interested in this topic. Honestly, I'm not skeptical, but I have never truly had contact. Is that contact? You just like it is weary and eerie things are happening. I don't know. It's contact.
I wouldn't say contact. I would say experience because that's something you experience. You didn't actually have contact with. You know what I mean?
And like circumstantial.
Just an FYI, you did the whole freeze thing twice now.
Okay. It's annoying.
But anyway.
All right. Well, I'll have to watch the VOD. But yeah, we're going to be going live within the hour. I'm going to quickly scarf down this lovely food my wife brought me midstream. We'll be on there. And I hope I see y'all there as always. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good life. Much love, y'all. Bye.
Bye, guys.
1, 2.